Thank you for the introduction, Eva, and good evening, Division C and E. When I walked into Toastmasters for the very first time, I still remembered how the executive greeted me, answered all of my questions, and told me how I could commence my journey in Toastmasters. That was the first of countless examples where this club has shown its unconditional support to both myself and the other members of our club. I have been part of this fabulous club for over 2 years now, and being a recipient of this club's benefits, and with some encouragement from the current executives, I decided it was best for me to give back and become an executive myself. During that time, I served as the Sergeant at Arms and then took another step, and I'm currently serving as president. But there is more. In fact, most of my fellow executives have been in the club for a shorter period of time than I have. But because our experiences have been so positive and so exciting, all of us were eager to keep that momentum going, and therefore we are willing to succeed the previous executive board and our club being served by newer members, and its return on investment is always showing. While hesitant to join the executive as a newer and younger Toastmaster with little board member experience, the other executives were excited to work with me and exchange ideas. There was no ego on the board. I will repeat, there was no ego on the board. Everyone treated each other with respect and wanted to hear all ideas during our meetings. Didn't matter if I was the Sergeant at Arms or the president or whatever role I would have been. I'm not saying it's always sunshine and rainbows. We've had lively discussions and disagreements like any other executive board, but it was always a healthy debate and healthy discussion with the interests in the club first and foremost and no personal agendas. This level of respect makes working on the executive more productive and more enjoyable. Patience is a virtue, they say. I was never pressured to do anything that I didn't want to do too quickly. I don't like to be pressured, and I'm going to assume that many others here don't either. Be patient with your members and encourage them to grow and achieve, but do not pressure them. You will be surprised what planting a little seed of encouragement and belief can do. Remember, they came to your club with aspirations already in hand. I'm thankful for my time serving on last year's board because I knew what I was getting into being on this year's board as the incoming president and having Eva's unconditional support as past president to help tie any loose ends. Eva had that same luxury serving on the previous executive board before becoming president last year. This experience allowed me to consider how the executive board was functioning and what aspects should be kept and or modified. I kept about 80 to 90% of last year's procedure, but I made a few changes. The few things I proposed we change was our primary mode of communication, such as WhatsApp instead of email, because email can get quite bogged down sometimes with everything else amongst jobs and other things. Another modification, or rather addition that was already mentioned, was proposed by our VP of PR, Andrea Montiano, and that's expanding our social media to LinkedIn. After all, not only is Toastmasters where we build leadership, but it's also how we network and get endorsements. So I felt these changes were appropriate because I was able to recollect on my time on the last board and compare it to now. So I recommend having some continuity on each board every single year. Too much turnover can lead to failure to recognize patterns, both good and bad. This has been my experience on how I evolved from a fresh face in the club to an executive member in just a short time of over 2 years. Again, I am not the only example of this. How did this happen? I was supported early as a new member, inspired to give back. And secondly, I was part of 2 executive boards that contained some continuity. This allowed questions to be asked and answered and patterns to be recognized and for the ability to implement appropriate changes. The momentum is still building here at Pacesetters. When I first considered joining Toastmasters, that was exactly what I was hoping to be part of. And I am confident that other clubs who stay consistent and build momentum can do so as well. So from our club to yours, Calgary Pacesetters wishes you nothing but the best in 2022. We hope for nothing but the best in your future, and we look forward to seeing your successes and to see you grow. Madam Chairperson.